Ahoy, hoy, friends. Welcome to the Salon. So excited to have you all here. Welcome to the audience. Welcome to my fellow Saloners. Always excited to talk about Star Trek. It's Thursday. It's 6:30 p.m. Pacific. This is what we do. Everybody has a drink, maybe a gummy. We're going to have a great time tonight. We've got folks popping in, and over the last couple of weeks, we've had our audience grow. We're super excited to see more folks joining us in the chat, watching later on. So, to all our new friends, welcome. I figured I'd start tonight by just sharing a little bit about what the salon is. I realize that we haven't actually done that in a while. We're just random, chaotic, and don't worry, it's going to stay that way. But I figured I'd talk about what is the salon so that all of our new friends had an idea of what this nonsense is. We are a sovereign class gaggle of gays, bis, and allies. Some of us are spicy, some of us are neurospicy, some of us are easily annoyed, some of us yet are easily annoying. One thing that brings us all together, the hopeful future that Star Trek has taught us is possible. Also, just watching Star Trek. We've seen it all, and each week we talk about the new episode or a theme of random choosing. We're irreverent, but we're really fun. We talk about what we loved, what we liked, what we didn't like, even. No holds are barred, and we often go way too long. This is the Salon. I'm your host, Stanley. I use he, him pronouns, and I am in Los Angeles. Let's introduce the crew. Let's start with Trevor.
I'm your co-host, Trev. I also use he, him pronouns, and I'm in Palm Springs, California. It's Commodore Trev if you're nasty.
I'm Will, he, him, and I'm also in Los Angeles.
I am Krista, she, her, mine, and I am in New Orleans, Louisiana. You're welcome.
And I'm Benji. I use he, him, and I'm in Winnipeg, token Canadian.
Thank you all. So excited. Tonight we are talking about Star Trek Prodigy, fan favorite, saved from nonsense, corporate shenanigans, etc., etc. I'm super jazzed to talk about it. It's been saved. It relaunched on Netflix Christmas Day 2023. I watched it twice at Trev's house while I was watching his dog. I have watched it a third time here at home. I re-signed up for Netflix just so I could watch it and bump up that sassy algorithm just a little bit myself. So we're going to talk about it. Season 1, all 20 episodes of it. And before we get into that, we also always like to start with a little bit of an icebreaker, and we call it intention setting. So why don't we do that? Let's set an intention.
Haha, it worked. That almost never works. Yes, welcome to intention setting, our nice little verbal warm-up for before we get started with our scheduled topic. I thought it would be fun if we started off with, in light of the topic of Prodigy, I thought it'd be fun if we actually talked a little bit about maybe who our real life hologram Janeways have been, since she is sort of the mentor to our kids. Though spoiler alert, not a great finale for her toward the end of the season. But our own personal hologram Janeways, who were those people in your life that kind of guided you when you needed them, and maybe you can call upon them when you need to. And I've been personally very fortunate to have a lot of them in work and in life. But there are two that really, really stand out for me. One was just a boss that I had super early in my career, that I was fortunate. Unfortunately, she was not my boss for long, but I was fortunate to still have her in my life and be able to call upon her, even now. And so we're still in touch. She's retired, but she's a mentor that I still reach out to, and frequently have moments in my work life where I think to myself, what would Kim do? And sometimes I call her and ask. And so it's really cool to have that available. And the other is my high school theater teacher, who I didn't really stay in close contact with after high school. But she saw something in the super nerdy, super closeted gay kid that I was in high school, and helped me be myself by being other people on stage, which was really cool. So super happy to have had her as one of my hologram Janeways. So let's go around the room. Who were yours? Shall we go in order, Will?
There we go. I didn't know you were an actor, Trev. That's funny. I should have assumed, but I didn't want to assume anything. As a homosexual of a certain age, we all find ourselves at the theater at some point. Holograms. I guess it'd be two. My oldest sister, Becky, and I are really close. We're about 10 years apart in age, but like I would say that we're each other's holograms, holographic Janeways, because like anytime something happens, we're always calling each other to either bitch or like ask to help in some regard or talk each other off a ledge. So her, and then my best friend Matt, who he's like we became friends later in life, but then we I don't know, I think we both rely on each other a lot, and we talk to each other a lot, and we ask each other a lot of good questions and keep each other kind of grounded and stuff. And I hate that he moved to Salt Lake City, but we're still very close. But yeah, Matt and Becky. So Hale, who's your holographic Janeway?
Is it me now? Did you say so, Hale? I guess it's my
did.
turn.
Yes.
There's this like lady, I don't know how to describe her. Her name's Shar. She died like many years ago, but I think she was my holographic Janeway because I still think about her to this day. And like when I'm in a situation that's like kind of tough or like I have to think about it, Shar for Charlotte, or her Hebrew name was Shurna Reza, which is pretty cool. It sounds like a Star Trek name. But yeah, every time I'm like in a conundrum or something like that, her like advice just comes in my head and I see her. So she is like a holographic kind of vision or whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna say shout out to Shar. You're my holographic Janeway.
Krista?
Okay. Most of the time, I actually feel like I am the holographic Janeway to a lot of folks that call me and need help maneuvering. But for me, I would say my best friend growing up was named Laura, and her mother would be my holographic Janeway. She was the first adult in a group of adults that did not pay attention to kids, basically. So none of the parents knew where any of us were at any time. And, you know, we could have been abducted. Like, who knows? If we didn't come home for dinner, it was like, oh, they just didn't come home. Laura's mother was the first adult that I didn't tell her where I was going when I was staying with them. And when I got home, she sat me down at the kitchen table and read me for filth about how that was not acceptable, that I was her responsibility. She didn't know where I was, and that it mattered where I was, and that people knew where I was. And it was the first time that I actually felt like I mattered to someone. So I always kind of, it's always what would Carol do in the back of my head. So that, but the majority of the time, I'm pretty much that person doing that to other people in my life. So I'm kind of my own hologram Janeway. So the end.
You definitely have those vibes. Yeah, my holographic Janeway also passed away just like about a year and a half ago. She was this like cantankerous as fuck old harm reduction nurse who sort of had like a habit of just noticing people and adopting them. She helped like shape my personality. She helped open my connection to the queer community here. She helped me with my career. I think I probably owe my career to her. yeah, and she was just like always there, like helping people, like in the middle of the night. I could call her, whatever. So yeah, that's my holographic Janeway. When she passed away, like the whole community held a memorial for her in a music venue near here, and like everybody came out, and there was like music and everything. So yeah, that's the kind of person she was.
That's beautiful. My not to be a stereotype myself, but it was definitely my high school theater teacher. She is still alive, but she had quite the impact on me. She was there. She came in my sophomore year and completely revamped what I did not realize was an absolutely terrible theater program. It was my freshman year. I had no idea what was going on. I was involved, having fun, but like the previous director didn't give a shit anymore. And then sophomore year, Jacqueline came in and was like, yeah, no, we're going to run this like a real theater. We're going to have appropriate levels of rehearsal. We're going to do different kinds of shows. We're going to have real sets. And was awesome. Was an excellent role model. Incredibly helpful when I directed a one act, and entrusted me with casting when my senior year I played Jack in Brighton Beach Memoirs, and then Atticus in To Kill a Mockingbird, which were both just huge growth opportunities for young gay Stanley trying to figure out what he wanted to do. Yeah, she was definitely my hologram Janeway. And those intentions are set. All right. Thank you all for participating in that. It was lovely to hear. We like I said earlier, we have random themes when we don't have a brand new episode to talk about, but hopefully we will have new episodes of Prodigy soon. Until then, we can, of course, talk about season 1 now that it's back on Netflix. And so we're going to get started as we usually do with these kinds of things and talk about our top thoughts of the first season. So what are y'all's top thoughts? And in any order, who wants to start?
I'll start.
Go for it, Krista.
Okay, so for me, I was a virgin. You guys have effectively reattached a hymen, and then we broke it again, and you were all there, and it was fan-fucking-tastic because I was gonna watch.
There's a first time for everything, Krista, especially in this group.
This is what
There's
I'm
a
saying,
first time
boys.
for everything.
That's the best analogy. That's the best analogy I've
wonder.
ever heard in my life.
Do not wonder. So I was gonna watch 5 episodes like a day until today, No, didn't happen. That went out the fucking window immediately. I sat there on that couch and watched every damn last one of them.
It's a great rewatch, and it's a one-day
God
episodes. It's great.
This is there was not a single thing that I did not like about this show. Not one single thing. It's beautifully rendered. It for me, it is like the modern. It is the appropriate equivalent for 6-year-olds with iPhones that Schoolhouse Rock was for me when I was younger. And, it was like, you were watching cartoons, but it was scholastically educational. This, it's moderately scholastic, but the thing that it's imparting is how to be a human, how to be decent, how to be a person properly with other people. And I was just like, well, of course they fucking canceled it because we can't have anything nice in this world. So I needed to come back. Thank you, Netflix. This is the only time I'll ever thank Netflix for anything. But my biggest regret is that I did not know about this show when I was visiting my 6-year-old nieces, because they're twins and they're just starting to diverge and develop different personalities. And one of them is very much like Rock Talk. And I was like, oh my God, I really am. So I'm going to send them DVD sets. I'm going to send them books. I'm going to send them everything. I need them to have this show. It's like Sesame Street and all cartoons and Mr. Rogers and everything decent rolled into one. and I loved it. And I was virginal. So, I mean, okay, that's it. That's all I have to say. Beat that, bitches. Beat it.
I was going to say, Krista's a very tough act to follow, but I'm going to give it a whirl. Just by pointing out that I agree with literally everything that she just said, although the Hyman thing was tragic. I agree with everything she just said, but I also, upon rewatch, and I felt this way the first time through too, but upon rewatch in preparation for this, and of course in just trying to run up their numbers as soon as it dropped, I noticed that it's just really good Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like it's actually a great Star Trek story, and the first time through I was watching it through like the lens of, will this attract a younger audience? Oh, this is a good gateway for those younger folks. Like, and I was constantly having that sort of dialogue internally. And then, like I said, rewatching it, I'm like, oh no, this is just good Trek, and I'm really digging it. And I realize we'll talk about like favorite moments and favorite episodes and all of that later, but kind of did the Borg better than anyone else has done the Borg. So just throwing that out there.
All right, I'll go. I on the first watch through, I wasn't like completely sold, and I think I agree that it really does. For some reason, it really hits harder in a binge. Normally, I don't like that shows are kind of designed nowadays to kind of function more as a binge, but I think this show really benefits from it. And I was trying to pin it down in a way where I was like, what is the, because it's not a kid, it's a Star Trek show that was written for kids, not a kids show that happens to be Star Trek. And I think there's a real difference. It doesn't talk down to kids, but it kind of presents an interesting moral about how anyone can do good, and it doesn't matter where you come from. Anyone can do the right thing and be the kind of quintessential person of the Starfleet, kind of that kind of moral and ethical epoch we've kind of created with this franchise. I as finishing the binge of it, I think the second half really holds up. The first half sets a lot of things, and I think it tries to figure out what it is. And this show is a great kind of example of them using every episode. And it's 20 episodes, which is longer than we get for live action Trek. And I think this show, even longer than we get for Lower Decks. And I think this show really benefits from it because I found myself really endeared to the characters by the end. Like I wasn't completely sold on Dahl in the beginning of it. And I'm like, he's really annoying. And then you kind of see his character develop over the episodes. So I think it is the most Star Trek show we have. And it's for kids, essentially aimed at children, to get them involved in the franchise. And I found it, I don't know, after finishing it yesterday, I found myself a little like stuck in a thought bubble about it, like thinking about it. But it is I had TNG growing up, and it wasn't aimed for me. Like it was something that I watched with my parents, and like I feel like it was a show that talked at everyone, but wasn't specifically talking to me. I think this show talks to children, but does not talk beneath them, and talks to children, which I think is beneficial. And it's funny that after this, I told my sister that she needed to have my nephews watch it, and because they're both younger, and I was like, I think they would enjoy this. And she was like, oh, it's Star Trek. And I was like, but it's not what you think it is. And she actually just texted me a few minutes ago saying that they finished the first half of it. They won't let her turn it off. So it's kind of funny that I was like, yes, we've sunk my claws into more of my family. But I don't know. I think it's the most Star Trek show we have. It doesn't feel like one. It doesn't look like one. It's very different than what we've had in terms of Star Trek shows. But I feel like it is the most Star Trek show we've gotten in like the new Trek, having like watched all of the stuff we've gotten up till now. It like doesn't satirize Star Trek like Lower Decks does, but it really does kind of. It figured out. I'm a little buzzed, so I'm gonna tangent, but it does the thing that Discovery thinks it does by presenting the moral issue. I think that them they take that the kind of more, I know the thank you Stanley. The thing that the moral tale that Star Trek kind of tells every episode, the original series, how it's kind of done that. I think that this show does it better than any new Trek, because they're not trying to hide this. It's and they're not trying to elevate it. They're presenting this moral story. I think if you made this a live action show, it would rival anything we've gotten.
It's just honest.
Yeah, I haven't quite put my finger on what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, here's the situation, here's the thing. Like, sometimes I don't need someone to like make this convoluted point about communication at the end of a series, or like be togetherness. I just want someone to tell me what the point is and let me kind of explore that with the characters. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
so
and
I think this show does it well.
They do more show than they do tell. So they set up the idea, and then by the end of the episode, they've actually engaged in the it allows for children to see other young people coming to conclusions for themselves. Mm-hmm. It's not nobody's handing it to them. They have to come to it to them for themselves. And
it answers the question of people can do hard things. You can do hard things, you can do the right thing. And I think this first season really does kind of hand that, especially the first half. But I don't know. It really got to me a little bit. It just got to me a little bit. That's all. And it's great. I second season, bring more of that shit.
How about you, Sohail? What were your top thoughts about this first season of Prodigy?
Well, I agree with everything you guys are saying, but I mean, I think that like something that resonated just now in this is like Star Trek Prodigy is just so pure and honest. Like, and it's like very like, even as an adult, I feel like revisiting like themes that are fundamental to development and childhood just like kind of reawakens something in you. And I think that like that quality is what I love about Star Trek Prodigy. And I'm a huge fan of Star Trek Picard. Like, I'm an insane fan of Star Trek Picard, but I agree, Will, Star Trek Prodigy is the best Star Trek. Like, if I were going to introduce someone to Star Trek who's younger, I would be like, dude, just watch, or lady, or non-binary, just watch Star Trek Prodigy. Like, it's like the best thing ever. I was super surprised by the show because when I first, when they first pitched it, it was like pitched to a younger audience. So I thought, well, I'm going to watch it, of course, because it's Star Trek, but I'm probably going to be like, oh yeah, it's a great kid show, but not for me. It's totally for me. I love the show. Like, I can't wait till season 2 comes up. I was so surprised by the depth of like each of the characters. Zero is my favorite character, by the way. I love Zero so much. And like that scene when he like, I know we're going to get into this in a deeper way, but the scene with the diviner and Zero, like epic shit. Like, what the hell? Like, that's like a moment in Star Trek that like, I think personally for me is up there with like, Spock's resurrection and like all those things. Like, it was very powerful and meaningful. And like, I love that the show didn't pull punches. Is that the expression? Right? Like, even though it's like a show, we often think we have to like wear kid gloves around kids and stuff like that, but kids are like, they definitely don't have the experiences that adults have, but like we underestimate kids often. And I think Star Trek Prodigy does not underestimate kids. I think it's just perfect the way it is.
The thing that like I've been thinking about since my rewatch, which I think was, a little more apparent than when you're watching it week to week, and I know we keep saying like, it's too bad that things are maybe meant to be binged, but also we have the perspective of having 30 years of Star Trek just like in our brains, so who knows how we are meant to take it. But I think like what I liked a lot on my rewatch, which is what like a lot of people didn't like initially, is that some people are saying like it looked like Star Wars or whatever. I think that like if you didn't know it was Star Trek going into it, if you hadn't seen the title or whatever, you wouldn't know what it is. Like, it wouldn't read as Star Trek. Like, it starts in this dark place, like people are enslaved, nobody can understand each other or communicate. And then later in the episode, after the main character goes on this journey and meets people, we see this like ray of hope that Trekkies are accustomed to seeing, but that the characters are not. So like we're seeing Star Trek from somebody else's perspective, really for the first time. And like that ray of hope is like the shape of a Starfleet ship. It's like a saucer in the cells, and like we all know what that means when we see it. It means optimism and hope and equality and everything. And then like during the course of the season, like more and more Trek gets sprinkled in, until by the end of the season, like we are firmly in Star Trek, and they're literally at Starfleet and in Starfleet. So I think it's a fantastic arc, and it has also has like amazing like one-off sci-fi stories like sprinkled within it. It's a perfect season of television. So yeah, it's fantastic.
And I saw an interview with Aaron Walke, heard an interview. Heard an interview with Aaron Walke where he was saying that like confusion in the beginning of like, is this Star Trek, is this Star Wars, like that was intentional. It was like to kind of show that like, and also to show that like the Star Trek universe is not just the Federation. Like there's more to it, and there might be similarities to this, like, whatever the Star Wars vibe is or whatever like that, which by the way, Star Wars totally took from Star Trek and Buck Rogers and all that stuff. So whatever.
It's all the same. Like anytime you see a bar in a sci-fi setting, they're like, oh, it must be pulling from the cantina. Like it's
right. F that. Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, a small round thing in his hand. That must be a thermal detonator, because grenades don't exist. I love Star Trek Prodigy. The thing that I kept thinking as I was rewatching these three rounds was those dumb fucks at Paramount. Like I just got more and more angry at Paramount, and like the brand mismanagement. Like they clearly thought that, oh, it's a Trek product, so just being called Star Trek is going to be enough. But then they kept saying, oh, it's for kids, it's for kids, it's for kids. When we all now know, like, it's not just for kids. It's a family friendly Star Trek show. It is geared towards a younger audience, but even the creatives, like a few months into the marketing, were like, da, 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 da. It's not just a kid show. Like, don't pigeonhole us like that. And I think the cancellation really pisses me off more watching this. Like, this is a great show that just wasn't marketed well and wasn't rolled out well. I remember it was, will it be on Nickelodeon first or Paramount Plus? Maybe both simultaneously. They did random batches of episodes and then breaks at times that didn't really make sense for families. No merchandise to go with this kids show, if that's what they're going to call it. So I'm angry, but I love Star Trek Prodigy. I'm super jazzed that it's on Netflix. I'm glad that we're getting season 2. I hope everybody watches it multiple times and gets your friends and family. I love hearing that nieces and nephews are getting into it too. So my top thoughts, I think number one, it's great Star Trek. It is just a great Star Trek show. It is a great introduction to Trek. It's a super smart strategy on Kurtzman and the Hagemans to bring in new kinds of audiences, along with what, like, we have so many different kinds of shows. Super smart. Again, it's really shitty that Paramount didn't follow through with them, but it's just great Star Trek. One thing that I especially love in this newer era of Trek, we've seen it in literally every show. They're like, I mean, Picard season 3 gets a little bit of a they get a little bit of a knock from some people about being too nostalgic anchored, and I agree to an extent, but all Trek in the current era is anchored some way in nostalgia, even Prodigy. But I think Prodigy does it best in that, like Hologram Janeway and Admiral Janeway, it's not just the nostalgia. Those characters make sense, and they're being utilized to drive our new characters and our new stories forward. It's not like, hey, look, we brought in this character for an episode just to like have them again, or a game just shoehorning in Spock. Like, how can we put Spock in every single Star Trek project? Drives me nuts. I love the way that they've connected Prodigy to the greater Star Trek universe without making the Star Trek universe smaller. That I think sometimes the other shows, literally all of them, from Discovery to Strange New Worlds to Picard, I love them all. But they've made the Star Trek universe a little small in that everything revolves around a few core characters that we've literally had for decades now. And so,
other than Hollow Janeway, there's not one human character, Stan. I just want to say, like, everyone else is like an alien, which is great to be able to, like, you know, kind of show like infinite diversity and infinite comedy.
Exactly. So I think it does it really well, and I'm super jazzed. I hope we get an announcement about when season 2 will be coming out soon. So let's talk about and yes, I know Spock is in Prodigy as well, but like that was a really cute episode. That's actually a great segue into talking about our favorite episodes or moments of this first season. And yes, ancillary nostalgia is the best nostalgia. Yeah, Kobayashi Maru did nostalgia beautifully. It's the way to do it, in my opinion, in my obviously humble opinion. But let's talk about our favorite episodes. Who has a favorite? Who wants to go first? So Hale.
So in Star Trek the original series, I fell in love with this character. He was like a random red shirt, Ensign Garavik. You guys might remember who he was in that episode with the weird cloud monster that they had to destroy with like antimatter, and like it had killed Garavik's father's ship or something like that or whatever. But he's just like really hot, cute guy, red shirt, who survived, by the way. But anyways, Star Trek Prodigy, my favorite episode is All the World is a Stage with the Enterpriseians who do their live logs and what is it? Live logs and thank you, proper. Thank you. Live logs and proper. So I love that episode because to me, yes, thank you, Joel. Garavik is my ultimate Star Trek husband. That's true until he died in Star Trek Prodigy, but it's okay. Aaron Walkie killed him, but he lived a good life, so I'm okay with that. But oh, Aaron Walkie's there. Live logs and proper. Thank you. Anyways, so that is my favorite episode of Star Trek. Like one of the top episodes ever of Star Trek, and everything about that episode is really cool. So yeah. Go check it out.
Wait, does this make you a Starfleet widower?
Yes, I am a Star Trek. I'm a Star Trek widower. That's right. That is
not
correct.
The first, won't be the last.
And he's in our chat. The guy who wrote this episode, who killed my husband. But I appreciate the way he did it. The way he did it. He's in our chat. So hello,
he went
Aaron.
up a hero.
Yes, he did.
Your husband died a hero.
He did.
Thankfully, we all have many Star Trek husbands. It's okay. There's no shortage.
Yes, I also wanted to acknowledge Aaron. We see you. Thank you very much for joining us. You and the whole team have created something wonderful for us to talk about and lovingly rip apart and build back up and enjoy, and just cannot wait for season 2. Go ahead and throw season 2 dates into the chat. I'm sure you're ready to announce it here.
We don't have them yet, but I'm sure we'll hear about them when he has them. Maybe you'll give it. Can you give it as exclusive?
That was literally my joke. So, are you drunk already?
I have had a few drinks tonight. I was on a date earlier. I apologize if I'm a little hype, but I am.
You were just talking about your husband dying, and you're already on a date. Anyway,
I know, but you gotta move on in
life.
life. You gotta move on.
Moving on at warp 10. I have to give mad props to Let Sleeping Borg Lie. I kind of mentioned it in my top thoughts, but I just, how do you make Borg both terrifying and not so terrifying that a child can't watch an episode? That's how you do it. I don't understand I don't understand how that happened, but it happened, and it's wonderful. And I said it also in my top thoughts that I thought that episode did the Borg better than we've seen the Borg in a very, very, very long time.
After watching the entire season, the one scene that really kept floating around in my mind was the one in First Contact the cave with the crystals. Like I was like, I would like to go to the cave with the crystals. And I think what is my favorite part about that episode is there's a number of things going on. First, we've got Dal with his, Ferengi foster mom. We've got the idea that if you do something and somebody provides you a gift back, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's purchased. The value is in the intent of the gift, not necessarily the purchasing value of the gift. And kind of very adult themes. The fact that she taught Dal everything that he knows, and his gut instinct is to think by this time, this doesn't feel right. This isn't right. We're not supposed to do this. But believing that if you are a member of this family, this is how you are defined. And I think the message there is these people around you are other people. They're individuals separate from you. You be who you are, and where you come from, and who raised you, and all of those things. You get to decide what you want to incorporate into who you are as a person. And I thought it was beautifully rendered and beautifully done the way they captured each of those little elements, because again, it's about telling kids that they don't need to be silent and not heard, that it's important that they say how they feel. It's important that they acknowledge even to themselves how they feel. And more so, they didn't really pull punches with betrayals and lies in that episode. A lot of betrayal, a lot of lies going on. And that doesn't mean that that's who you are. And it doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. It's that this is something that somebody did, and we're going to reconcile it, and we're going to move on, and we're going to try not to emulate that behavior. And again, just beautiful examples of what nobody wants to talk about with kids. Nobody wants to talk about the bad parents. Nobody wants to talk about the manipulative parent. Nobody wants to talk about the, Gwendala's monster parents. I mean, nobody wants,
right?
Nobody wants to talk about these things, but they talk about them in the show. They address it in the show, and it's beautiful, because I was raised at a time where you did not talk about the alcoholic father or the abusive parent or all of that kind of stuff. That's a very recent thing in society now, where those are things that you talk about. But when I was a kid, so that was the scene that stuck out for me. I wanted one of those crystals so bad I could taste it. I just wanted to sit there and listen to that song. And hands down on this show, just the way it's done. I asked in the comments, it's 3D. Apparently it's 3D animation. I don't really understand the logistics, but it's like, if it's anything like hair, it's like ombre hair. And that's Kardashian amounts of money. And so it's well placed, ladies and gentlemen, beautifully done. The aliens are gorgeous. They were like little angel floating butterfly angels with crystals, and they made songs. It's like, who doesn't want to do this? And also all the bad, like animals that could kill you, they all look like plushies. It's a beautiful thing. They all look like plushies. So, but that was my episode. That was my gig right there.
That's such a great episode. I love those aliens and the resonant harmonic frequencies and all these things that you can it's super, super cool.
And I mean, so like perfectly rendered and entirely inappropriately behaved Ferengi, just like down to the struts.
I want more.
I'm gonna push you back. I'm gonna push on that. I think that Ferengi is perfectly well behaved for a Ferengi. I think that's about. I think they are just perfect. I don't think they're. I'm gonna push you on that. I think they are perfectly well behaved.
They're fun at a party. They're fun at a party.
How about you, Benji? What was your favorite episode?
Okay, well, I knew somebody was going to take mine because it's deserved. So I did choose a backup, but All the World's a Stage is my favorite episode of the series so far. It's one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek. Just to like add to what Sohail said, one extra thing that I like about the episode is just showing how Federation values can bring people together and inject optimism and enthusiasm and shows people how to work together. So I love that. But so my second favorite episode then is Preludes, which is the one where everybody goes over their backstory and how they got to be in the series. I just love like Rock Talk's relationship with the hero. Like one of the things that happens, a few times throughout this season, and that like never comes up in Star Trek, is like what happens when you don't have a universal translator. And I think it's like a beautiful thing to see like relationships form in the absence of lingual communication. So yes, I love Rock Talk story. The Tellarite stasis ship was a lot of fun, and I noticed on my rewatch that I'm pretty sure Bonnie Gordon was the voice of like the annoying computer robot thing. So that was a lot of fun, and also like the Medusan backstory and getting to see the Medusan ship again. Yeah, that was great. It's a really lovely little episode. I liked it a lot.
I have a couple that pop up. One that again I'm going to rant against Paramount in the merchandising. Those winter jackets are fucking fire, and I want them. I said it at the time. I thought it on Christmas Day. I thought about it every day since. It's been a little chilly here in Los Angeles. I want one of those jackets, and I will pay money for them. Like I need the cosplayers to get on it. Some hero collector or not. That's not what they're called.
Hero Within.
Hero Within. Thank you.
They're called field jackets, by the way. And yes, we all need one.
Yes, I want that field jacket immediately. Yeah. But my favorite episode was Supernova Part 2. So many things. One, like we've talked about this a little bit. Like a lot of Trek can be hit or miss with wrapping up certain threads, particularly in season-long iterations of Trek, to varying degrees of success. I think Prodigy does it best. The way that the Diviner story wrapped up, the way that Gwen's story, her initial story is wrapped up and still gave us what her next story is going to be or start to be. Dal's story, like everybody had these incredible moments and growth throughout. And like I am a 38-year-old man, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I cry every time I see hologram Janeway sacrifice herself. Beautifully done. I hated it because I was like, no, it's a cartoon. You should save her. And then like, no, they're going to be with Flesh and Blood Janeway now. So it makes sense. And it's I think something Star Trek does really well is remind us that a being doesn't have to be flesh and blood. It doesn't have to look like us, doesn't have to be like us in order to matter and have value. And hologram Janeway mattered and had value and did a great job mentoring those kids. And her story was complete. And her sacrifice was incredible. It gets me to choke. It chokes me up. And I also love a Sovereign class vessel. I mean, I have it tattooed onto my body. So anytime we can see the Sovereign class, I'm going to take it.
I cried like a baby during Hollow Janeway's thing too. I was like, I didn't expect that. It was hard, but it was great.
And like I said at the beginning, like Janeway being a character we already knew, it would have been really easy to like really ham it up with the coffee references. It wasn't overdone. It was done perfectly. Just so many beautiful little touches. Excellent job all around. Did anybody not share a favorite episode yet? Will, go for it.
It was mentioned a few times in the chat, but Time Amok, I think, is my favorite episode. I think as like watched the whole season, I think felt like it was hard to pick. Like there were some really obvious choices, but but I think Time Amok really stuck out to me because it did kind of something we see a lot in Star Trek, like the time loop situation or the time dilation. That like I knew when I talked about what the show does well with a theme is it hands me the theme and it goes, here's what we're going to talk about, so I can kind of engage with the theme instead of trying to pull it out of whatever kind of detritus is in the episode. It was nice to know, the minute we got to the river and we can go back and forth and like everyone trying to get everything to the other side, I knew immediately what the episode was going to be about. This is going to be the teamwork episode. And seeing it done in a way where each character was given a moment to kind of push this forward, and it was done in a way that I got to know the characters a little bit better, and it like the idea that you can do hard things, like that theme, I think that moves through it, through the season and through the first half of the season itself more predominantly, but that idea that you can come from anywhere and do the right thing eventually, like that's okay. Like everyone, you have that possibility. You can do a hard thing, and the stuff with Rock, I think that she became my favorite character the minute we like that moment where the
Because she suffered. You like it when someone suffers.
No. I don't like when people suffer, especially someone who has such a sweet voice that is so nice. No, not at all. I like that it was someone who took the situation that would have been the worst if they were alone for a very long time and took that time to kind of better themselves and become a better person and to be able to do the right thing and make that hard choice and do that hard thing, which was to help
Especially
their friends.
because Rock didn't think they could do it. Like
Didn't
they
think
were
they
like,
could do
I
it,
can't.
and
Yeah,
like
it was
pushed
so
Janeway
good.
away,
Yeah.
and like all of that stuff, and figured out basically how to do everything, and became kind of the scientific mathematical genius of the show in that moment. And I thought that part where at the end of the episode, it made me so this episode I finished it and then I went back and rewatched it again. Look who's joined us. I rewatched this episode twice in a row because it made me think, like, I don't know, I felt something. It helped me attach to my childhood whimsy or something. I don't know. But I never had much as a child, but I attached to something. And the moment at the end where Gwen goes to Janeway and goes, how long were they there? And she says, far too long. But then they cut over to Rock and she's embracing her friends and talking and having this great time, as if that time that she was alone does not mean as much as the time she has with her friends and her crew. And that was like, shit, that was good. And it's like
How
a
long do
beautiful
people think
moment. I looked at the screen, I tried to count. It was a long time. I don't know what their metric of
No
time
one knows.
if it is a day, but James is too long. So I think
Yeah.
regardless of how much it was.
But like, do we think it was a year? Do we think it was 4 months?
It was a long time.
It looked
too
a lot
long.
longer
Whatever
than
too
that.
long is, it's long.
Because
yeah.
it was the whole, I mean, if Aaron Watkey's still in the chat, maybe he can answer this. It looked like that whole glass panel was marked, and then maybe there was some stuff on the walls around. So I feel like it had to have been a very long time.
See,
But
like-
you can sense a change in Rock Talk. Oh, I think we have an answer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh.
We had a time for how long Rock was stuck in the
See,
alternate time fracture.
I wanna-
but
Why did is this
Aaron,
is my favorite
can I?
episode? I need answers. It was 2
But
and 10.
Aaron-
No, I need
Aaron,
answers.
Nickelodeon's not here right now.
They're not here. Nickelodeon's
They're
not in the
always
room.
here. Don't you dare put Aaron Walkie.
17
No,
years.
I need to know. I was so upset that there's no Rock action figure. Getting people in the chat were upset too. I was as soon as that episode was done, I was like, I need this action figure. I bought the pin. She's my spirit animal, my spirit Starfleet officer. I love Rock. I was like, no, she keeps me motivated. I was like, I got to do stuff, but I need to know how long. But
I
Let's
didn't get
also remember she basically
got 0
oh yeah,
didn't she
You wanted to
basically
get-
end up with
available.
go ahead, Matt.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, didn't she basically end up with like an entire degree in multiple like
Yeah.
theoretical physics?
Yeah.
Like very.
Yeah.
So clearly, it was like years. I mean,
Years, decades, maybe, because we
years.
don't know. I
I don't know
guess I
about
look it up,
decades, but it was a long
well,
time.
we
for a
don't know. We
kid.
don't know how
Yeah,
we
it's
don't know
true.
how her species ages.
Oh,
We don't know any of that
Aaron,
information. How's it?
maybe I will enter it on a panel someday when
I
we're.
think that's the
Okay,
best.
I'm holding that to
best
you.
idea.
I'm
Okay.
holding that to you, Mr. Watson.
Wait, you know what?
I'm holding
If you
that
wanna-
to you.
Aaron, if you want to
In
join
Vegas.
this panel, I'd be happy to see.
Please, please. Okay.
In Vegas,
Well, we'll
when we're all
see.
there, we can all go up and go to the Star Trek Prodigy panel and just say, "Hi, Aaron. We're
We'll
circling
be
back.
there.
Oh,
Remember
circling
us?
I already
back
have
in
it.
January."
Oh, I'm doing it.
Remember that
I'm
gaggle
walking
of
right
days
up. I'm walking.
I was gonna warn. I was gonna warn him that like pretty much every block on here is a person that shows up to STLV, so it's possible we may ask that question
pretty
during the
much,
panel.
yeah.
Remember when you
Okay.
promised us on the Salon?
Do you remember those drunk strangers that you were chatting with?
Well, I'm asking. We're going to the panel. We're going to the
I
panel
already
next year. I'm
drank,
asking.
It's
I already
on.
drank some, but
on.
I'm gonna go get another glass of wine. I'll be right back.
Good. While
Anyway,
more drunk. Welcome, Matt. Thanks for joining us. Do you want to share your favorite character of Star Trek Prodigy?
What
My
episode?
favorite, my favorite
Or
character
episode.
of Star Trek Prodigy,
Episode.
is the original USS Sovereign, NCC 7811. No, they're all like, that's what I love about Prodigy, is like it's such a good collection. Janeway has always been my captain. Even though I love DS9, especially now as an adult going back, it's my favorite. Voyager has always been like my home. It's my home show. So seeing Janeway again is worth it to me. Hollow Janeway, real Janeway. And I have to echo, like, Time of Mock, probably one of the best, just for me, because obviously that's, a given. But I was always just blown away by how much I enjoyed every episode. I always went into it and I was like, oh, okay, this is a kid's show. And then the more you, like, once you're, like, check that box of, like, oh, okay, it's designed for kids, you realize, like, I'm fully enjoying this as much as any other Star Trek show. I just have to see it through the filter of, we're watching it for kids, but it is still just as good as every other one. And that's what I really cannot give Aaron enough credit for towing that line so well, of the balance of keeping a very good nuanced story with still being able to speak to, like, Prodigy is one of the ones that blew me away just for how good and well executed it was. And it was absolutely, let's also just say, fully unjustified for that to get canceled above other ones that are, well, mainly.
Let's not rank our cancellation choices here.
No, it's just short treks. The very short treks.
Well, Aaron did a very good one of those.
Which was the best one.
Mm.
By far. Anyway, I was very, and I really wish that we could just fully canonize that was the Enterprise E, and that is what happened to it, and let's just put the whole thing to bed. It was a great way for it to go out. What?
It was still Worf's fault. He wasn't supposed to be anywhere near that sector, and then it was like, no, we gotta go. I blame Worf. I blame Worf for everything.
He felt like it was a good day to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good day for the
my
ship.
headcanon, the Defiant was supposed to be at the Battle of Sector 001. Either Worf was like, I'm taking my apartment and I'm going out. I'm
taking my RV.
Take it out. He lives on it. He lives on it. So it's like his apartment. It's his apartment. Anyway. Oh, you're welcome, Aaron. We love your show. It's very
Yes.
Good. Thank you, Aaron. And also, let's just say Aaron is such an incredible person, especially for how successful, and like, he is so wonderful to just see, and always has such a good energy. So thank you for also being just an incredible voice for Star Trek.
Yes, 1000%. Other favorite characters? Who wants to talk? We've talked about Rock. I can talk about Zero. I love Zero. I love Angus, the voice. Him and Fleabag. So funny. Who here has seen Fleabag? He
The
plays,
show?
yeah. The voice of Zero plays Claire's stepson, the one who is obsessed with her, and it's so funny. Every time I
Jacob
hear the
Bassoon.
I just want
Yeah,
to play,
man.
which, as we all know, is a call for help. Or cry for help is the line. But every time I hear Zero talking, I just imagine him saying, "Where's Claire?" floating around in his suit. I love the Medusans. You all know, like I appreciate the original series. It's not exactly my jam, but the Medusans were always a really cool element that I enjoyed, and so seeing them included in Prodigy was really cool. I love a sassy telepath. If there's one thing, we're gonna get into our hopes for season 2 later, but there's one thing I hope for him. I hope somebody tells him to get like privacy. Privacy matters, bub. That's the one line I was hoping for in a couple of episodes. Like, dude, invasive much, but move the story along beautifully as telepaths can. Take that, TNG writers. Beta Zeds could be done better. Troy Boy. End of rant. Who else has a favorite character they want to talk about? Trevor?
I would like to speak in defense of Dahl. No, seriously, Zero is probably my favorite, like hands down. But I do have an affection for Dahl because of his arc, and not just his arc, but also the voice actor is just seems like a lovely person, and it doesn't seem incredibly talented, is incredibly talented. And I realize he didn't write his arc, but he portrayed it in a way that made it believable and kind of loving and endearing, and took somebody that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way at the beginning, and nobody was really saying anything negative about him toward the end. And so I don't know. There's something about the the overall performance, but his arc, and I love him. He's a nice kid. I would love for his eventual sort of landing place to maybe not necessarily be command, because I like how these things that appear obvious tend to change by the end of certain character uh, pieces of their arcs. I like how that gets changed up a little bit. So I think that would be cool if he ended up in something other than command. But even if he ends up in command, that's awesome too. I just really enjoy him and the actor that performs him.
What you just posted, the highlight there, I relate to that so much because that's why I think I love Zero so much, is because I had to learn similar boundaries when I was growing up.
I also just really appreciate that fully sounds like an after-school special. Like, Zero learns boundaries, and now it's like it's just going through, and it's like, Doll, I didn't know you had diarrhea today, and then it's like, here's what you should do differently, and then it's just like you swap back and forth with Hollow Janeway showing etiquette protocols. I think that'd
be a good time loop episode where it's just Zero making really inappropriate mind reads of people, and then Janeway going, "We don't do that." Time loop, we learn a new lesson. Time loop, we go back. I don't know if we've done that. That'd be fun. Like reading people's mind. No boundaries, but we're gonna learn them.
There's a very short Trek pitch in this for sure.
I just like that we just learned that Sohail was apparently struggling to control his telepathy.
Back in the day, when I had telepathy. When you grow up, you forget about all those things.
Whoops.
Can I piggyback on what Trev was saying about Dahl though, real quick?
Yes, please.
Towards the end of the
wait, you just said real quick. So Krista, can you?
I can't, but I'm taking up Ken's time.
All right, there we go.
Same age group, so I'm covering Ken's time. Wardy. What I liked, I agree. He was difficult at first. Kind of in the Jack Crusher area of difficult at first, but then towards the end, the thing that got the waterworks going for me was that moment where they really have gelled as a group and they feel like a unit, and they're everybody's good with everybody, and then he finds out he's an augment, and suddenly he's not acceptable when he had there's no conceivable reason why. And I'm getting choked up now because, like, as a kid, imagine being in a body where you feel like everybody else, but for some reason you're outside and you're not accepted. And I thought that was a huge swing and a pretty adult theme to put in and do in such a masterful way that that even a young person could kind of understand what was happening there. And that it's not just about, we can't deal with augments, or we can't, there was this war and yada, yada, yada. Because all the kid understands is that I don't belong. And it's the kind of thing that kids need to watch. They need to actively have that a tangible feeling inside them so that they understand what that feels like. Empathy, these kinds of things. And I thought that it was a big swing, I thought, and it could have easily been avoided, but they didn't. They went and they took the swing, and they did it with a person who was difficult to like in the beginning, that had grown on you. And what is so brilliant about the series is that instead of it being necessarily predicated on nostalgia, as you said, Stan, or the bad guy of the week, or even trudging slowly, ever slowly into the big bad at the end, what they did instead was they actually allowed the characters to build. Like, Star Trek can do this. You can build an entire season about just the interactions of characters, absent the overriding big bad, absent the dark, absent the compromised morals and all of that. It was all there, but it wasn't foremost. So it was ancillary nostalgia. It was ancillary big bad. All of it was ancillary to the focus on how these kids team build, how they, they go through the corporate team building trust fall with a river and some livestock. I mean, it's beautifully done, but it's done in a way that kids can understand, but adults can still watch. And I forgot where I was going with that, because fuck off, I've had a gummy, but it was important. It was profound. I'm absolutely certain of it.
I do have to. I had
Krista,
to jump
would
in
you
though.
remind me?
Oh, hang on 1 second, Sohail, because I just wanted to bookend something that Krista shared,
ahead,
which
Trey.
was in talking about the bit of Dahl and being the outsider. The most masterful piece about all of that was that the entire piece didn't just speak to the outsider, and it didn't just speak to the people making him feel like the outsider. It spoke to the people in the middle who need to fucking speak up.
Mm-hmm.
And it
not only
spoke
that,
to
when you
all
find-
three equally, and that's what was brilliant about it. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
No, and when you find out that Dal is actually everyone, like Dal's genetic makeup is like,
oh, genius! That whole line was genius.
Yeah. And then Janeway's speech at the end, I was like dying. It was so good.
I'm
It
not
was
a
like
huge
what we
fan of
need.
Janeway. I'm not a huge fan of Janeway, but I think
Admiral
it might be
Janeway is the
because I
shit.
just don't-
She needs to
I
be
just-
on live action movie.
No,
Forget the Picard movie.
No, I don't
Janeway
like live action Janeway. I like hologram Janeway and I like Admiral Janeway, but I think I don't like.
Well, we got her on animation for another season, so we're excited.
Right. I mean, she made me want. I was like, the next time I'm somewhere and I'm experiencing difficulty, I would really like a pocket Janeway to just pop up and go, well, this is how.
That's what they should really use AI for, is to create a hollow Janeway for all of us.
Yeah. We could all just have a pocket Janeway instead of a screaming goat. We could have.
Sohail, should you really be investing in that? It looks like a bad account.
You know what my dad say? He said, "Make a picture, paint a picture."
In fairness, it would be very
from my pocket, and I would feel better. She's the
be
Diet Coke of Janeways, the most popular.
Yeah,
The
one
Diet
thing.
Coke of Janeway's, Aaron. You nailed it.
For those of you who had money on when Salon would go off the rails, it was exactly at 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 13 seconds.
Thank you. Keep that in the record, please. The
Like
official
Scientology
record. I was waiting for
and
this vote.
Ken. And Ken's not here. Is there a connection? I think maybe.
Yeah, if there's one thing that I would say that Star Trek Prodigy did not give us that they should have, it's a progression of Janeway accent. That's the one thing that was missing. I wanted Jane Eyre. I wanted we could land. I wanted her to go full Hepburn.
And like
There's
in
coffee
a
in that
completely
episode.
different hair in every episode.
That's
We
what
could land the ship.
the best. It's the most duplicatable accent. You could do it in your car. You could do it while you brush your teeth.
Scotch
Do
and
it while
mochi.
you're waiting for coffee. It's not. It takes.
She has
no
a mid-Atlantic accent. It's
just,
brilliant.
I would actually like it as the navigation. in my car.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I do it all the time. I whip out that accent all the time. It's so fun. I had to learn it in college. It was like, this is how we talked all the time.
It's an invented accent, right? It wasn't it invented for like TV
Yeah, it's
or
not
not
real.
TV, but like
Mid-Atlantic means
It's
you're in
like,
the middle
yeah.
of the ocean. Yeah.
Prepare
But
to
it
go
was-
to Vault 9.
It's a derivative. It's a derivative of something called American Theater Standard, which is not. Oh, now we're getting into
I thought
something.
it was.
I
thought
don't
it
need
was
to
the
get into my
Royal
theater background.
I thought it was
No, we don't
Royal
need to get into my
Theater
theater
Standard.
background.
It was
No, but I
definitely
thought it was.
American Theater Standard.
Oh, there's an. I didn't. So I always thought that it was a derivative of the Royal Theater Standard, but I didn't know there was an American Theater Standard.
Mhm.
That's cool. Oh,
No, it's
you
cool.
need to send me in.
It's the oh, here we go. It's the easiest thing to talk.
I
The
have
easiest
so
thing
many
to point
thoughts.
to is My Fair Lady. That's like the easiest thing to like put it to. The plane in Spain mainly stays in whatever the fucking line is.
The rain in Spain stays mainly
I paid a lot
on
of
the
money for the
plane.
from Berkeley. I have to use it at some point. I'm sorry. Paid a lot of
personally.
money for that piece of
I think
paper.
it was well suited for technobabble. I want to hear Kate Mulgrew talk about warp particles.
A quantum warp static bubble to get us out of this void. Yeah.
It's a call
No
breach.
space. Yeah. Warp
Let's
code
just
breach.
remember, there is no person in all of Star Trek history, maybe one other, that would be more willing to record their voice because no one loves to hear Kate Mulgrew speak more than Kate Mulgrew. So
Except maybe
No,
all.
I love it. I love
I
it.
love
too.
it more
I do.
than her.
I do
love
too.
her.
Listen,
I
all of the
would
captains.
want that in my car. Like if I was driving drunk and I ran into a tree, and I would want
If
to
she
hear
recorded
Kate
a Siri
Mulgrew
voice,
say,
I would do it. If she
"Darling."
recorded Siri,
Yeah.
I'd do it.
I want to hear Admiral Janeway go full Hepburn alongside Moira Rose.
Drama, David.
Yes.
As you
where's-
guys know, I never finished Voyager. I'm still not.
You need to get your shit.
Oh.
together, so
I know
bad.
I do need to get my shit together, but
Spoiler
Star Trek
alert, they
Prodigy
get
made
home.
me
all
made me
this
want
time you spend interrupting people, you could be watching Voyager.
Oh,
Right, they
dang.
need dueling Janeways on Prodigy, just like they had dueling. Things. Yeah. Go.
It's inbutting, by the way, Stan.
I was waiting for a reaction. We love you so hell. Ken's not here for me to be really bitchy too, so it's your turn, I guess.
Your
And
pen
Matt,
stuff
it's
double.
always Matt.
Well, Ken would say that it wasn't right because Janeway wasn't holding an authentic Stanley thermos cup with her coffee. God, I love
It must be an alternate universe.
But I love that is a perfect comment, Krista, because it made no sense.
I found a
That
knockoff
was
Janeway
not
cup.
an authentic.
I have a
and I'm just
Janeway cup.
pointing it out.
I have the Janeway cup downstairs. It's on my little. I should have it up here. I actually drink coffee out of my Janeway mug all the time. It's actually not very good for coffee.
No, I can't drink coffee out of it because the handle's too small and it's I need like a bucket of coffee in the morning. But like I could put my drink in it. Hold on. Oh my God, we're doing things. Hold on. Oh my God. Mute me.
Yes.
Oh, I'll mute it.
We have officially reached the
This is
It's
why
off.
people.
that's my we're off the rails. We've separated.
Wait. Hold on.
So
I have to call
good.
this out
It's
right
so
now
good.
because I've never heard something. Aaron saying that Catherine
Oh.
O'Hara should be cast as Phoebe Janeway. Done.
Yes.
Done. Absolutely, not even a question.
If only somebody in the chat could make that happen or has connections to
Yeah.
make that happen, Aaron.
What do we gotta do?
I would love to see more of just honestly there, and maybe this can be a bridge into. I would love to see more of what happened after Voyager got back, and kind of it doesn't need to be a focus, but even just like in conversation in season 2, where we hear more of like the fallout of them getting back. Like we obviously have seen, 7 of 9 did not join Starfleet, or tried and wasn't allowed to. Like I want to know. Obviously, Paris and stuff were still in it because we get that from the Cerritos, but like I just want more of that. I want more of like, because we were robbed of that. Spoiler alert for Sohail, who hasn't seen Voyager.
I haven't
That
seen
we don't
Voyager.
really get.
I'm on season 6. I'm almost done. I'm on season 6.
Not season 6,
and I love
you.
I do, but I love. It's been in season 6 for 3 years. I know, but I love. I love it.
This is a great segue, Matt. Thank you. Hopes for season 2 as we circle in for a landing in our Prodigy segment of the Salon tonight. Before we fully go off the rails and whatever tangents one or all of us will drive us at some point. So
We've got Star Trek news. We've got news.
Movies. Is
Yes.
that what it is? Yeah.
Movies.
yes, another movie was announced that.
South by Southwest. We have more about the anyway. The
Oh, yeah. No. We're gonna get into it. Like let's
Tech Talks this weekend.
focus.
The
Focus.
cup's making me more drunk. The cup's making me more drunk. I'm sorry.
Focus.
Everybody, take a sip and focus. Hopes for season 2. I know Aaron's not going to give us spoilers in the chat, but let's see which one of us guesses something correct. I'll start. I hope Chakotay dies. I'm
Fully
just
seconded on that. Can I fully second on that?
or recast.
Oh my gosh!
But I am down for a death. Let's teach the kids about death.
No, we've already
Sad.
learned about it.
Wait, but let's also, it's not just teaching the kids about death, it's also teaching the kids consequences of being an offensive racial stereotype for too long.
But Prodigy is going to
created by a fake consultant grifter, which they didn't know at the time, but still, like, they did choose to not just go with a tribe. They went with, let's just do a conglomeration and whatever. None of this is on Prodigy. None of it.
I have a question. Who's worse, Beltran or Shatner?
In what way?
I don't understand why.
General.
Tomatoes and tomatoes.
Like,
honestly, I
They're
do.
both bad.
I have a wee bit of a theory, though. I would say, with the tone and the approach, I think Beltran, because Shatner A doesn't run his own account, and B, I think often when he has said offensive things, it has been out of ignorance, not out of any form of.
I do
intentional
fully
malice.
believe that William Shatner just is refusing to ever. When he turned like 50, he decided, I'm not learning anything new. I don't give a fuck. He's like,
As a
I could not care
45-year-old,
less.
I'm kind of there. I get it, but yeah, it's like
But
whatever.
that's my thing. Is I don't genuinely think that he means anyone ill.
I don't think
I
so
think
either.
he just does not care to learn.
And
anything.
Roberto Beltran has like a huge gaggle of people who are like super standing for him all the
They
time.
just
Like
want to sleep with him.
I know, but I've gotten attacked by the Beltron babes a
The
lot.
shippers.
It's like,
Listen, I have not met a single person who ships Janeway and Chakotay who was not attracted to Chakotay.
Yeah. And just
Like-
wants to be Janeway. in
Yeah,
that situation.
nobody was like,
Yeah.
oh, that really makes a whole lot of sense. Those characters really jive well together. Like, no. Anyway, tangent alert.
but yeah,
We're-
back to the question.
Hopes for season 2. Voyager A is going to look cool as fuck. We've already seen a glimpse. Matt, talk about it. What do you hope for season 2?
I want more Voyager A. That's all I want. She's my baby now. She's my baby sovereign class. She's my like pocket size sovereign class, which
Just like
is
you're
all. There's literally no ship that is more specifically designed for me than Voyager A. Apparently,
Every
I
model should just
am-
come with you in the window.
And we've
little
got a
mat
new
in the window.
licensee to make the models, so we're gonna get Voyager A and the Protostar, which I'm excited about because I love the Protostar. I think she's the coolest ship since the Enterprise A.
gorgeous ship, and I love the little shtick of the little big jet engine that comes out of the back. It's kitschy and fun and perfect for kids. Makes no sense in universe with that many moving parts, but I'm okay. Again, it's a kid show.
It's fun to pilot in Star Trek Online. The Protostar. It's really
Ooh.
fun.
If
You
only
have
I
the.
have it.
Do you have to buy? Do you have to buy it or something?
It's a
or-
lockbox thing. I've gotten really good into gambling at the moment.
Can you help me, Will?
We can have another discussion about this. But it's
Okay.
I got it. I was playing it yesterday. I had to do my red alerts, and I ended up getting the Protostar, and it's really fun. So thank you,
Oh
Aaron
my
Wonke.
God.
It's very fun to pilot in the game.
I
It's
need
really
the
it's
Protostar.
fast. It's like it's great.
I need the Protostar. I need the Enterprise G, and I need what?
I got that too. I got the Enterprise G
Virtually
too.
Enterprise.
You have the Enterprise G? Oh my.
Yeah, I have it. And then I was gonna get the Dauntless too, but we can talk about that ship design
Shut
later.
your mouth! Oh my god, I need
I
you.
I have
Doritos.
boxes. We'll talk, Sohail. We'll talk.
Okay.
Back on topic. Sorry, back on topic. We'll talk.
I know some people don't love the Dauntless 2. I love what I call the sled ships. The Akira, the Cerritos, the Centaur, like anything that has its nacelle, the Protostar when it's at Proto War.
Have you seen the Krakatoa? Howie Day made this thing called. Look up the Krakatoa class. It's like
Sounds
a
like a
fan-made
password.
thing. No,
Have you seen the
effing
Krakatoa?
amazing. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find the Krakatoa.
Oh, wait, is it an original
My
series
naming call.
design? Because that's not going to be my jam.
Sounds like a made up.
Let me pull it up first, and then you tell us.
Oh, it looks oddly like the
It's a torpedo.
Sternbach Voyager concept.
Oh no, I love this. Let's be good
I
hosts.
do actually like it.
Isn't it good? Can you put it on screen?
Yes,
Look at that shit. Oh my god, I love the Krakatoa.
that is really good.
Since I'm drunk and since Matt has already done the worst confessions on this show ever, can I just say I don't know why Howie Day blocked me. It's probably because I'm not offended by AI art. I don't know, but I love this guy's art, and I'm sorry he blocked me. Whatever. Bye.
Oh, it's
Wait.
a bummer. I love his art. It's really good too.
Yeah.
Is he does he do AI or
No, but a lot of people don't like the AI conversation at all if they're artists because it's very threatening, and I get it.
no? Yeah, agreed. I thought you were going to say like you were flirting with him or something. I was like, oh no.
I think I got blocked for AI, but it could be anything. You could get blocked for anything. You could just one day post that you like the color red, and someone will fucking block you. It's just the way
I'll block
You know
you
what,
now. I'll
Sohail?
block you right now.
So-
Try that
One
tomorrow.
day I'm gonna block you.
Wow, you
What,
don't like
Matt?
I'm
Matt,
blocking
you
you
said the
now.
most. Matt, you can never block me because you said the most beautiful thing to me one day, and I love it, and I always think about it. I'm
I'm
just
blocking
saying.
you because of that.
I'm blocking all of you until next
All
Thursday.
right. So what do I want to
it
see?
doesn't work, Will, but I
You
love
have to
it.
see us in person.
Krakatoa girl.
What I want to see, thank you for asking, is I want to see Gwendolyn's world. I'd like to see if we get to see her where she
Yeah,
goes.
Salon.
Solo.
But mostly, I want to see Rock Talk sciencing and being a xenobiologist and finding new species and getting so incredibly excited about just being in the general presence. And yeah, and I don't know. I'm kind of wondering what it'll look like with the kids on a real ship with the real Janeway, because the last ship, it was just them. That's it. That was it. And now it's presumably it's going to be much larger with
On the
of
Voyager,
people.
on the Voyager A, yeah, I think that's what
Yeah.
they're gonna, yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see. But mostly, I'm just hoping that we get a season 2 and a season 3, because I want these to be made available to my 6-year-old nieces. I need for both my niece that wants to be a Disney princess, whatever, and the other one who wants to be, the next Oppenheimer. I need both of them to sit down and watch this show. So I need a couple more seasons, yo. That's what I'm looking for. Yep.
Wait, here's
Season
one
2.
question though, because so Hale just brought up a good point without knowing it. Are we going to call the Voyager A the Voyager, or is it just going to be Voyager A? Because Voyager is one of the only ones that doesn't get the prefix out of it. That's
Wait,
just
what?
This is nitpicking. Because you always say the Enterprise,
No.
the Defiant. It's
Right,
just
everyone says Voyager. Yeah.
Tom
Voyager
Paris
A.
said it one time, and it's so uncomfortable to hear.
It really
I
is.
see.
The Voyager.
The
Voyager.
Voyager.
No,
No one
it's
says
Voyager
that.
A. I think it's Voyager A, Matt.
You said the
I don't-
Voyager, though.
I did do
Like
it. I did.
Canadian,
So.
if it's the Canadian ship Voyager E, that was for
The
Ben.
Voyager A?
The Voyager.
Voyager E. It was the Voyager E.
Where were you stationed on? Oh, I was on the Voyager
I was
A.
on the Voyager E.
Is that what I sound like?
No,
Oh.
no, not at all.
Speaking of...
It's
I
like
was just
the,
throwing that
it's
out
like
there.
the
That was
regular
more of a-
Voyager. It's like the regular Voyager, but with better healthcare.
Right.
We've got two
Right.
they've got they're like way past the Andy Dick hologram and they're onto the this year hologram. Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
the Voyager.
like-
It's called the Voyager, guys. We have a talk
Wait,
here. The
I
Voyager.
love that Aaron said...
I love that
called
we're
it
getting
the
actual
Voyager
answers.
and redo it. Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh,
And
also
we're
thank,
do it.
like two or at least one.
thank you for getting Jason
Made him
Mantzoukas.
redo it. Oh. Made him redo it. I didn't read it correctly. Thank you, Aaron.
I love that Jason Mantzoukas is in Star Trek. Thank you for making that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, here's the only thing, and I say this lovingly, and this is a pro for me. Every time I'm watching it, I see Jenkum. I see him there as a character. In my mind, all I can see is his character from The Good Place.
Derek.
Like
Yeah,
that's
same.
yes. All I can see is Derek, and in my head, like it brings me joy to like that juxtaposition. But it's all I can see him in the booth trying to do this, like with the hair. Like I love him. I think it's fantastic.
You have to love a character that talks about himself in the third person. He just it's like it's a joy every single time.
It's what I loved about Bob Dole. That's an aging joke.
I hope that was the only thing you liked about Bob Dole.
It was. I was maybe 9 at the time. I don't think I had liked anything else about Bob Dole. I liked that his
Did
name was
Bob
on
Dole
bananas.
do the erectile dysfunction commercial as well? And everybody thought, wow, that's brave. Tangent.
It's a
This
perfect
is a
name. It's
fantastic
perfect.
thing to know because it does fit
It's
so
perfect.
perfectly.
It fits perfectly. It really fits. I can't imagine anyone else voicing Jenkum. I can't really imagine anyone else voicing them.
Maybe, and here's the only one that I could kind of see. His dad. I want him to find some older relative, and I want it to be Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito as a Tellarite, as Jenkin Pong's.
Oh my gosh!
Like,
Oh, Tellarites are only
grandfather.
voiced by Tellarites are only voiced by people who have very specific voices. It's Danny DeVito, John H. Benjamin. Like we could get Stan in there. Like their
Jason
Tellarites are
Alexander.
only
Dan,
voiced by
you would
people with
make
very
a great
distinctive voices.
Tellarite. Oh my gosh!
I disagree.
Stan, you would make the
Ba-dum-bum.
best gay aunt Tellarite. Like, just
You hear that, Aaron? Season 3. I am
Hey,
available.
those kids need a nanny, and there's
Yeah.
no reason why
They
Stan
do.
can't
And
play the
it's
nanny.
Stan playing Mama Patelli from the Goonies. That is a Tellarite.
I hate this and I love it. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
and
That'd
I'm
be
a-
a great Halloween costume for you, by the way. If you were Mama Patelli. I'll be Sloth. You be Mama Patelli.
Okay, yeah.
All right, settled. Perfect.
You just,
Anyway, tangent. This cup made me much drunker. I'm gonna mute.
Yeah, it was the cup. It was the cup.
It was the cup. It was the cup.
Mm.
It was the cup.
It
All right,
was
we're
the
getting-
cup.
We're getting a little loopy and we're at
Pour some of your sweetness into my cup, Chakotay.
oh goodness. Muting that.
Ah,
You know what that was, Stan?
Yes.
Wait.
And the first of the day. I'm actually
Let's all-
surprised. This is maybe it's because we're talking about the family-friendly show. It's not usually an hour and a half into the salon that we get a problematic game.
How could a show
Yeah.
at 11 at night be family friendly? I'm just saying. I don't know.
I'm talking about Prodigy.
Oh,
Focus.
I just would like to also point out that the only thing in Chakotay's cup were his lines. So
His
Ooh,
dentures.
ouch.
Chakotay,
Hey, the
I
whole-
like a good
the whole
mead.
cast used to say he did it.
Yeah, I have 3 tweets that have gotten some kind of pop off, like 1,000 likes, which is not much. One of which that I am very proud of was at STLV when he was scabbing and popping off in that panel. I tweeted, apparently Robert Beltran is scabbing at STLV. So in honor of that, let me present his best work as Chakotay. And it was a picture of Chakotay's grave in Endgame. Not a fan, unless it's in case that's not obvious. Love Star Trek. Don't love shitty people who scab on writers, especially when people like Michelle Hurd bust their fucking asses to make sure that STLV can happen with some ground rules. And by the way, I'm going to go on tangent alert. I got to learn and hear about so many cool things that we would not have if they were telling the same goddamn stories they tell at every fucking convention. I don't care that Patrick Stewart was a little stiff in season 1. They've been telling that story for decades.
I've never been to a convention. I've heard them all. So
Yeah. Like hearing new stories was wonderful.
Yeah, you guys strike aside, you guys were lucky to get the unique con experience. That was very cool.
Yeah, super fun. And the panel that Michelle Hurd moderated with the disco people, they talked about where they were from, who their acting influences were. They like even the castmates. It was Doug Jones, Sonequa Martin Green, and Sylvia Tilly is played by, I know her name.
Mary Weissman.
Mary Wiseman, yeah.
Thank you. Goodness. I'm not even drinking. They were learning things about each other at that panel. It was such a wonderful thing to be at. It was so cool. So cool. So fuck you, Robert Beltran. Follow the rules. Please kill Chakotay. Final thoughts on Star Trek Prodigy.
Wait, do you know how awkward it's
What is
gonna
happening in
Wait,
Chris?
I want to know what Krista's showing us real quick.
We
What's
said
going
up
on
top that the salon was different and irreverent.
Wait, but-
Krista's just showing us a new part of her mansion.
Her
Krista has a
enormous
mansion?
home. Yeah.
She does
She's
not.
in the
She
East.
does,
Oh,
She's in the
okay.
East Wing
Like-
right now, and so it's
she does not. But
East-
every week it seems like every week we see a new part of her home, so it just seems like it's 5 stories, and
That is
He's, like,
completely
all
different from
glitchy
the
and
other
shit.
home we saw
talking about
last
me?
week.
yes.
Yes.
Oh, Chris is not.
But
Wait,
it's
Chris is
completely
talking, guys.
different. Like we're in another room,
wait,
and it's
hold
like,
on.
where is this?
Before we
This
go
is
down
on
this
my
tangent, I
porch.
really just want to say to Aaron specifically, I'm going to laugh, and I would love to have you back at the end of the year when we see the season, and then all of a sudden Chakotay and Janeway are like making out, and you fully shipped them.
That's not.
And
gonna
I would
happen.
really like to have you in here and explain yourself if it does go down that direction.
That's not.
That's
gonna
my only request.
It's not gonna
Only
happen.
record
It's
date
not
keep
gonna
it for
happen.
a
I
year.
promise it's not going to be like the Spanish Inquisition.
They're
but
like Mulder and Scully. They're never gonna get together.
They
Spoiler
did.
alert.
Scully and Mulder.
Did they get together? Or did I miss it?
They do. They have a child. They have children, multiple children, don't they?
What
Spoilers.
episodes is that on?
Spoilers.
Shit.
Later.
Oh shit.
It's been out for
something that came out
decades. Get
10
over
years
it.
ago.
Oh my god.
Next, you're going to tell me that Jim Kirk had a son.
Yes, with Spock.
What?
So did Jean-Luc
You
Picard.
mean to
certainly
tell me
tried.
he shot Mr. Burns? What? No.
I had another son, and his
It's-
name is Burke.
In oh,
Krista
God.
fell into a wormhole.
Yeah.
Wait, we lost Krista. Ah.
Spatial anomaly.
Where's-
She'll be back.
Yeah. By the way,
Now
speaking
I-
random kids that we didn't know that we had yesterday in my improv practice team, the exercise was pulling whatever game we were playing into an IP, and I could not think of anything other than Star Trek because I have one personality trait. And so I definitely initiated a scene in which I was introducing Jean-Luc to our son, Jack, and my 2 scene partners did not know anything. I thought one of them did. I was like, oh, I thought you were cool, TJ. He did not know what I was referencing. And I was like, because I had to set it up very quickly and be like, Jean-Luc, it's me, Beverly. By the way, we have this kid. It wasn't that bad. I'm a good improviser, but the kid didn't, John didn't know anything about Star Trek. And then TJ was like, but wait, I didn't even know you were pregnant. We've just been on the ship. And I was like, oh, you don't know Star Trek Picard. Okay. I thought we had talked about it. Whoops. So
Spoiled that season for him.
yeah. And I said that later. I was like, oh, sorry, everybody. Spoiler alert. The premise of this scene was basically season 3 of Picard. It worked though. I pulled our scene into an existing IP, and it was fun. Krista's trying to hop back on and failing.
Oh.
I think
Because she went into the East Wing porch, and we
Yes.
know she doesn't have internet on that wing of the home.
The East Wing.
Well, it's so
Port.
expensive.
It's like
it's
the
to get
furthest
Wi-Fi
part
on
of
such an expansive estate.
It was originally a
It's
She has
Guys,
to get on a
I just-
golf cart and move through the house.
I just saw.
It's a vineyard.
I
It's
wor-
been in her family for centuries.
Oh,
The generations.
It looks different depending on the angle you look at it. That's why it's either very Tuscan or very French Village.
Absolutely. And part of it
Krista,
burned
I hope
down.
you're
And it,
listening to this.
I
had
do
a,
love you all.
I had a point. What?
I'm
Matt,
sorry.
final thoughts.
I might just really quickly. I'm gonna head out just because
Oh.
I'm not feeling well, and I really do need to get sleep for tomorrow. I love you
Matt.
all. My final thoughts. I cannot wait for season 2. I'm so excited to see what we do with Voyager A and actually getting real Starfleet back into the mix, and of course time travel, which we all know I will not shut up about for the entirety of season 2. And I'm fully expecting them to just undo everything, but I'm gonna be excited to see like what the ramifications and fallout are. And I just noticed Will.
Aaron, we too love Will's freeze frame. It's
Is that-
sassy.
I'm frozen.
It's sassy homosexual, not unlike Will.
Krista taking a drag from
Oh,
her
God.
cigarette.
She's dancing.
Oh
She's
God.
Anyway, I love you all. Aaron, thanks for being here. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Joanne, I'm still pushing that you need to join us sometime. And I love you all. Have a good night.
Yes.
Good night, Matt.
Bye.
Good night, Matt. All
I
right.
heard everything y'all said while I was trying to get back on. I just want all you fuckers to know, I do not have 17 wings in my home. I have 16.
Yeah. She's very posh spice. She's like, no, we're very working class.
We are very working class.
Be honest. We have 17 wings and 3 torches.
We really don't. But I
Right.
know how to make a space look big. Let's put it that way.
Well, and what's funny is really what you're doing is like you're just pointing your camera in a different direction in the same room, but it looks like a complete
Exactly it.
place.
Here's my entryway. Yeah, I'll just take you on a whole tour. I got to get my earphones. This is the TV room. There it is. Blink. There's a bathroom.
A room just for one TV.
Dining room. There's another bathroom. Here's a kitchen. Here's a stove that needs to be cleaned. Where are my earphones?
I would give you all a tour of my apartment, but you can see most of it behind me. I am in all of my wings except for the bedroom. I am in my kitchen, dining, living, and office space.
And
Los
there's nothing wrong with that.
Is Will in the
There's
waiting room, or is he not back yet?
He is not back yet.
Okay.
He's a
See,
mess.
it wasn't just mine. I had to move to my phone.
Well, why don't we do Krista's final thoughts?
Yes. Take a drag of that cig and tell us
I'm
about.
gonna take a drag of this thing. I'm gonna say that, as I said earlier, I love everything about this show. There isn't a single thing that I would say that needs to be done different. And I liked it better than Picard. Yeah, I liked it better than Picard. I liked it. I liked it for its messages. I liked it for its lack of doom and gloom. I liked it for its optimistic outlook. I liked it for the message that you need to try, and you need to fail, and you need to try again. And you need to face those things that are very, very scary and make you feel alone, because really you're not alone. You just may not know it. And I find a lot of times, especially dealing with like customer service or anything like that, it's always, you know, Yoda said there is no try, there is only do. Now it seems like there is no try, there is only can't. And this show is the anti to that statement. It is you try, you try, you try. And the effort in and of itself is the point. And sometimes you'll be successful and sometimes you won't. And it's okay. It's not, you know, there's no reason to crawl into a fetal position. If I had to tell you the number of people that I've had to, like, literally when we owned the restaurant and I would have to say, you know, you can't really say things like that anymore, or that's not appropriate. And it was like, I'd have to give them a 10-minute break to go to their car to curl up in a fetal position because they couldn't like deal with the fact that I was just like, please don't use that word anymore. It's this hypersensitivity that comes from not being allowed to fail. And you need to be allowed to fail. You need to be allowed to make mistakes. And I think that this show, when they first get on that ship and they're like, they don't know what a holodeck is, they don't know what a replicator is, they don't know what a transporter is. All of those things are massively frightening. And yet they kind of go, okay, well, this is what we're going to do today, and this is what we're going to try. And I think it's a beautifully rendered message, and I think it is fundamentally important that kind of message is sent out to children of this age to contribute to the fabric of our society, because they're going to grow up and they're going to need to learn these things. And we all learned these things at some point and they kind of stopped. So
that's my Janeway moment. I think we all need to learn to fail. That's it. That's my final thought on that. I have many others, but that's that. I will resume smoking.
I'm just so glad that Star Trek Prodigy exists. I have a lot of young folks in my life, like additional to godchildren, nieces, nephews, all that stuff. So I'm excited that there's an opportunity to introduce them to Star Trek in a way that's going to be fun and relevant and new. Yes, I'm the biggest Star Trek Picard stan here, but I will say that Star Trek Prodigy is the show that I would save if I had no other choice, because I think it does encapsulate the best parts of Star Trek. And it's so exciting that Aaron was in our chat today. So yeah, those are my final thoughts.
Well,
I guess we're doing final thoughts. That beautifully said, Aaron. Beautifully said. I think we're talking about final thoughts about this season. I said early on I thought this did Star Trek the best that we've seen in like the kind of Paramount Plus CBS kind of era of Star Trek, because I think it approaches Star Trek from a place that there's no pretense in terms of its discussion of the themes of what Star Trek is supposed to do is like part of the canon of I guess American of television, of like the American television experience and like culture. So I think it does that best because it gives a kind of what I think we're missing from New Trek, if we call it that, is the kind of childlike wonder of Star Trek. And I think Prodigy brings that back to the franchise in a way that the other shows are I don't want to say preoccupied with, but they're trying to make adult situations out of themes that are very fundamental, and approaching that as something you would teach a child is, I think, the strongest point of this show. That it's teaching the themes of what Star Trek means to work as a team, to do the right thing, the sense of exploration and wonder that you get from this franchise, from like the idea of Starfleet and all of this, finding our better selves, and being a beacon of hope. And if you're hearing squeaking, my dog has a new toy, and he must squeak it while I'm making this very profound statement. And I think the show does it best because it strips it away of our kind of adult preconceptions of what the show is, of what Star Trek is, and it distills it to the hardest, the best concentrated facts of the show, and delivers it in a way where I think it's accessible to everyone. And it kind of reminds me, he always judges me. Walter judges me constantly. That's all he does. It's what he's paid for in treats. And fresh toys when he destroys all of them. It reminded me of why I love Star Trek. I would say this recent rewatch really reminded me of why I love Star Trek, because it felt like the show told me of the themes that I appreciated as a child, watching TNG with my dad and my brother, and brought it back to me as an adult and reconnected me with that child that has long since aged away, gone forever, the sands of time. So no, it's a beautiful season. I'm looking forward to season 2. I have no expectation for what is supposed to happen. I'm just hoping for more of the same, because I normally am very opinionated and have something really stupid to say about every season and how I want to fix it. Yes, he must squeak it. I always want to fix Star Trek, but I had nothing to fix with this season. I thought it was executed brilliantly, and is the best first season of a Star Trek series we've had. So,
Benji?
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. Like, I pretty well always have like all of these, fanboyish wants and desires for what's upcoming in Star Trek, and with Prodigy, it's completely different. Like I just like Aaron and everybody, on the show have been wonderful storytellers, and I just want to leave them to tell their stories, and I just want to like enjoy it and absorb it. Every single episode is like opening like a little storybook. And that's what's really special about this show. So I don't think the fans should be setting the series. I want to see what they're going to create. And again, like what I loved about this season is I think what we're realizing that Star Trek is really good at when it's in its element is that like there's a really good solid season long arc, and then there are these like wonderful stories sprinkled in that are either like science fiction stories that are one-offs, or they're character stories where we get to learn about our characters in depth. So I love that format. I think I had said when the season wrapped originally, about a year ago now, that Prodigy perfected the season-long arc, and that's exactly what I want to see. So I would love to see more of the same, similar format, just absolutely perfected, and these like really wonderful and inspiring stories. And I would also like it to be available for streaming in Canada without needing a cable subscription, so that young people can actually enjoy it. So get on it, folks.
So I have been very sort of not critical, but I've highlighted how I think fans that are resistant to a lot of newer Star Trek shows are actually just resistant to anything that isn't the formula. The formula of Next Gen, the formula of TOS, the formula of Voyager to a certain extent. It's why DS9 was sort of the not so loved stepchild until more recently. But I love the fact that we're kind of playing with the formula a little bit, and what this show does that, and better than any of the others in my opinion, is that it sort of there's like an homage to the formula while also just sort of telling its own story in its own way. The thing that really stands out for me though with Prodigy is that there isn't a character I don't like. I generally can highlight at least one or two who I'm like, oh god, we're stuck on their story right now, and in any Trek, and that isn't the case with Prodigy. So I genuinely appreciate and enjoy that aspect of it. And I also, I mentioned that I love that it's well, who said it? Either Matt or Will said that it's Trek that was designed for children as opposed to a children's show that was designed to be Star Trek. Like, and that piece certainly resonates with me. It's also like one of the reasons I loved the crossover that we got in Strange New Worlds with Lower Decks was getting to see those animated characters in real life. While I would love live action Prodigy, if it never, like, I don't need it because it's so beautiful and it's so well done that I don't long for anything to be added to it. It's perfect the way that it is, and I don't want to mess with it. Now that doesn't mean that if it were to happen, I wouldn't be extremely excited. It just means I don't need it. And so for that, I'm very grateful for the powers that be and the creatives that have made it that enjoyable.
I agree with everything that's been said. It's beautifully done, beautifully executed. I think it is the best first season of Star Trek. I think it had an excellent pilot. I think it had excellent growth for all of its characters, really solid arcs. We had backsliding that had taught lessons and had growth. I loved it. I'm super jazzed for season 2 later this year, but hopefully sooner than later. I know we can't get it. We can't get that exclusive here on the Salon, but hopefully sooner than later. I can't wait for it. Thank you all for joining us in this discussion. But before we wrap, we of course need to get tonight's scorecard. Trevor?
There were no Bev alerts, which is very sad because Beverly does appear at least one episode.
She does appear in
Prodigy.
Prodigy,
I know.
Yeah.
But there were no Bev alerts, no canon alerts. There's one. Okay. No canon alerts, but that's what happens when Ken's not here. Only one problematic gay alert. So that's I think a new record. Bonus points, 100 to Sohail for moving on so quickly from his late husband. And then only 2 other people earn bonus points for this episode, and it's 1,000,000 to Aaron Watke for showing up tonight, and 1,000,001 to Aaron Watke's wife for brilliant casting ideas.
Ellen, come through with casting, Ellen.
She wrote a book. Go check it out.
Excellent. Well, yes, thank you, Aaron, for joining us. Thank you all for joining us. We love those behind the scenes things. We love hearing everybody's opinion in the chat. We're here Thursdays, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Via our poll, this is news for our saloners. Via our poll, I believe a Deep Space Nine thumb war is on the horizon. So if you haven't seen Deep Space Nine recently, now's the time for a rewatch.
Which
probably,
season?
I think we'll go in order with this one instead of the reverse order. Right? Because with Next Generation, this is a peek behind the curtain of the Salon. We decided in the middle of talking about a Lower Decks episode to just have a really quick hour-and-a-half sidebar about Star Trek The Next Generation Season 7, which turned into a thumb war and went in reverse order. But I think for Deep Space Nine, we should go in airing order.
So you guys are all about reattaching my hymen because this is going to be another virginal
full circle.
voyage for
Full
me.
circle. We're bringing it back.
We're going
bringing it back.
full circle. We are
Krista,
reattaching the hymen.
Krista, do you ever
as we
come to
speak.
Miami? If you ever come to Miami, please, we have to hang out so much.
Because I'm expecting an examination. That's a little.
No,
Not
no,
that.
We'll talk
just-
in the after hours.
I don't have this kind of problematic alert video, but one is needed in this space.
Krista's
The saucer
problematic
separation video
hymen.
is the best thing on the internet, by the
Oh,
way.
Hymen
you know what?
separation. That's what we can call it.
Thank you
Hymen
for that,
separation.
because actually
Escape pod.
there is a like, okay, we just need to end this shit. It is that time. We'll announce more programming later on once we discuss internally. But my goodness, I cannot thank you all enough for being with us, Aaron. And thank you again. Super jazzed to have you. Thank you all. May you live long and prosper, and may you live logs and proper as well. Thank you all. Have a lovely evening.